Something I hear all the time from folks I work with, people over 40, is that strength training it feels different than it used to. And you know what? It's true. But here's the secret. While it might feel different, it's actually more important now than it has ever been. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why your body is changing and more importantly, lay out a smarter, safer, and way more effective blueprint for building strength that's going to last you a lifetime. So, does this feel familiar at all? If you've noticed that your workouts just take a bigger toll than they did back in your 20s or 30s, I promise you, you are not alone. It's an almost universal experience, and honestly, it's the clearest signal that our approach to fitness needs to evolve right along with our bodies. So maybe for you, it's taking 2, maybe even 3 days to feel fully recovered from a single workout. Or perhaps you're waking up with a new kind of stiffness in your back or your knees that just wasn't there before. Or maybe that old shoulder thing from a decade ago is suddenly making a comeback. These aren't just random annoyances. They are very clear signals from your body. And let me just be really clear about this. You are not imagining it. Not at all. The changes you're feeling are real, they're physiological, and they just mean we need a new strategy. The goal isn't to stop, and it's definitely not about just pushing through the pain. It's about finally starting to train smarter, not just harder. All right, so if we're going to train smarter, we first have to understand what's really going on under the hood, so to speak. Let's take a look at the key biological shifts that explain why everything just feels so different these days. The first big one is something called sarcopenia. Now, I know it sounds technical, maybe a little scary, but it's simply the natural age-related decline in our muscle mass. See, starting around age 30, we can actually lose a pretty significant percentage of our muscle every single decade. This right here is exactly why strength training becomes non-negotiable. It is the single most powerful tool we have to directly fight back against this process. Next up, let's talk about our joints. The cartilage that acts as that natural cushion between our bones, well, it naturally starts to thin out over time. A great way to think of it is like the tread on your car's tires, just wearing down with mileage. And at the same time, our ligaments and tendons start to lose some of that youthful bounce and elasticity. This combination just makes our joints less resilient to all that high-impact stress. And finally, the big one, recovery. Here's how strength training works, right? It creates these tiny micro tears in your muscles, which then repair and grow back stronger. Well, after 40, that repair process, it just takes longer. So please hear me on this. Needing an extra rest day isn't a sign that you're getting weak. It is a biological reality. And accepting that is the very first step toward building a routine you can actually stick with for the long haul. Okay, so now that we know why our bodies are changing, let's talk about some of the most common mistakes people make. With the absolute best intentions, so many of us end up working against our own bodies simply because we're sticking to old, outdated habits. And this right here, this is so, so important. That go hard or go home mindset that might have worked for you when you were 25, well, today, it's just the fastest way to get sidelined with an injury. Your body is playing by a whole new set of rules now, and ignoring them is going to lead to frustration, not the results you want. What I absolutely love about this is just how simple the solutions are. Let's just walk through this table together. Look at that first row. Instead of those high-impact explosive box jumps, which can be really tough on the knees, we can just do controlled step-ups. You get the same real-world leg strength without hammering your joints. Or how about the shoulders? Behind the neck pull-downs put your shoulder in a really vulnerable position. A simple switch to a front pull-down or a row is so much safer. And finally, sit-ups, which can really compress the spine over and over. We can build a much stronger, more stable core with things like planks or dead bugs. See? It's all about getting the benefit without the unnecessary risk. Okay, so we've covered the why, we've covered the what not to do. Now for the most important part, what actually works. This is the practical, no-nonsense blueprint for getting strong and staying that way. First things first, frequency. I want you to completely erase the idea that you need to be in the gym 5 or 6 days a week. To build and maintain strength after 40, 2 to 3 focused, full-body sessions per week is the absolute sweet spot. And why is that? Because it builds in that crucial recovery time we were just talking about, the time your body needs to actually repair itself and get stronger. This slide lays out the 5 core principles perfectly, so let's just walk through them. Number 1, focus on compound movements like squats and presses. They're just the most efficient way to build strength you can actually use in your daily life. 2, control the tempo. Moving slower not only protects your joints, but it actually makes your muscles work harder. 3, integrate mobility. Think of this as daily maintenance for your joints, like oiling a machine. 4, prioritize recovery. Remember, rest isn't lazy. It's literally when you get stronger. And finally, number 5, progress gradually. The goal isn't to destroy yourself in one workout. It's to be consistent for a lifetime. And really, it all just boils down to this. This right here. This is your new mantra: consistency over intensity. It's not about how hard you go in any one workout. It's about the cumulative effect of just showing up week after week. That is the mindset that builds lifelong strength. And that brings us to the real heart of all of this. We need to completely reframe why we're even doing this in the first place. The goal has shifted, and frankly, it's a much better, more meaningful one. So I want you to just take a second and really, really ask yourself this. What are you training for? What's the ultimate purpose of this? I guarantee you the answer is different now than it was when you were 25. The work we do in the gym isn't for the gym. It's for life. It's for the strength to carry all the groceries in one trip. It's for the ability to get down on the floor to play with your kids or your grandkids, and maybe more importantly, get back up without needing a hand. It's about maintaining your independence and drastically reducing your risk of a life-altering fall. We are literally building a more resilient, more capable body to live our lives more fully. See, the goal is no longer about hitting some one-time peak performance. It's about creating a high baseline of functional freedom that you can maintain for decades to come. It's truly about adding life to your years, not just years to your life. So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. The best time to start investing in your future self was yesterday, but the next best time is right now. Start small, start smart, and just be consistent. Your future self is going to be so grateful you did. Thanks for taking the time to learn with me today.